Okay, so let's start with our chapter 2 of Disappeared. Let me find it here. So you did chapter 1, Sarah. Let's see. Chapter 2, Emiliano. Friday, March 24th, 10:24 a.m. Emiliano, in the front seat of the van, glances at brother Patricio, who is driving and talking. He tries to think of something that will make the brother go a little faster. Amelia wants to see Perla Ruby, before she goes to volleyball practice at 11. And he has a lot to do today. But brother Patricio drives the way he hikes, slow and steady. I had to head over to El Paso and get Memo new boots, brother Patricio then said. I tell you, we are fortunate there is no school today. I'd never be able to do all that needs to be done before the trip next week. Yeah, it's too bad we had to get up at 5 a.m. on our day off, Paco says from the back seat. I'm sorry, but 7 in the morning was the only time that Agulios could play. They're a public school, remember? They aren't lucky enough to have the day off like us. Besides, we need all the exhibition games we can get. You got us playing again at 9 tomorrow? Paco continues. Well, tomorrow's game is in El Paso, Brother Patricio explains. The Conducadores were the best team in El Paso last year. It'll be a good tune-up game. The only tune-up I need is sleep, Paco says, yawning. I'm burned out, and the season hasn't even started. What are you complaining about? You barely moved all game, Pepe says. Hey, who scored the winning goal? That was all Emilio. You were just standing there picking your nose when the ball hit your head and bounced into the goal. Brother, take the other lane. It's faster, Emilio says, but Brother Patricio is not listening. I wish I could take Memo to El Paso so he could try the boots on himself. It's chancy to buy boots with only a measurement. Why do you have to get Memo boots? Paco then asked. Emilio turns around and he grimaces at him. That kind of question will only make Brother Patricia slow down even more. Brother Patricia searches for Paco's face in the rearview mirror. It's a tradition of the Jasparas Explorers Club. A Jaspara gets new hiking boots at the end of his first year. Why do you call us Explorers Club? Paco asked. You guys don't explore anything. All you do is get your brains fried in the desert. Brother Patricio stops to let a car in their lane. Emilio throws his hands in desperation. When are you going to join? Brother Patricio asked Paco. When are you going to join? What's the pledge you have to take to be a Japari? You want to tell him? Brother Patricio nudges Emilio. Emilio recites impatiently. I will abstain from all intoxicants. I will be honest with myself and others. I will use the knowledge and strength the desert gives me for the benefit of others. Hear that? Paco says, animated. That first one would kill me. While you guys are out chasing lizards, I'll be in the shade on my porch having a cold one. If you get rid of that pledge and you let girls in, I'll sign up. Brother, watch it, Emilio shouts. Brother Patricio slams on the brake just in time to avoid crashing into a truck ahead of them. Man, that would have been at the end of all our seasons right there, Pepe says. I just saw my life flash before my eyes, Paco agrees, and there were some very important things I didn't get to do. Brother Patricio lets the truck gain some distance before he accelerates ever so slowly. In response to your objections, he says calmly, as if they hadn't just barely escaped with their lives, the first part of the pledge is important because so many of the kids we recruit have addiction problems. As to your second concern, we remain open to the possibility that girls will, at some point, want to join, want to be part of the Jasparis. Women, after all, have as good or better capacity for enduring hardships in the desert and elsewhere. You have a lot of experience with women, Paco quibs. Laugh if you will, Brother Patricio then says with a mysterious grin. Emilio digs his cell phone out from his backpack and checks his messages. Perla Ruby's texts are short and sweet. The last one reads, At library, come by. Then there are three messages from Sarah. Can you pick up eggs and milk on the way home? No need to come back no need to come by work today. I'll take a bus. Do you have money? I'll pay you back tomorrow. Be good. Emilio smiles. Sarah always tells him to be good. She knows he'll have some money by the end of the day, assuming he can get to his bike while there's still daylight. Once they get to school, he'll head over to Jabir's house to pick up the pinatas the younger boy made. Then he'll go to Taurus, where Mimo's grandmother sewed some kind of purse. Armandio, the owner of the club, is usually there till noon, and it's incredibly important that Emilio talks to him. The kind of money making opportunity he has in mind may not be around for long, but he'll never make it to Taurus by noon the way Brother Patricio is driving or crawling. Maybe Armando will wait for him. Emilio looks up Armando's phone number in his contacts and he texts him. He says, Need to talk to you today. Got an idea that will be good for both of us. Be there a little after noon. Will you be there? Afterwards, he'll take the pinata and the purse over to Avinda's, Jarvis's, and sell them to Lajo Torres, who will resell them to an American tourist. All that will take Emilio at least 4 hours, and then he needs to get home in time to shower and find a ride to Perlo Ruby's house for her mother's birthday party. Oh no, what about the present for Perlo Ruby's mother? Maybe he can stop by one of the jewelry stores in Insurgents by Lalo's after Lalo pays him. There's a ping on his phone. It's Armando's response. I was just thinking about you. I need to talk to you too. I will be here, but don't be too much later than noon. Emilio smiles again. If Armando wants to talk to him, that means he has some kind of business proposition in mind. Perfect. They're operating on the same brainwave. Go, 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 he tells Brother Patricio, who is slowing down for another yellow light. In Mexico, yellow means step on it, brother. Brother Patricio stops. The car behind him honks. We are in a big rush, are we? He asks in a knowing grin. His rush is waiting for him at school, Paco says. I keep telling him that he's barking up the wrong tree. He doesn't have a long term chance with that kind of girl. She's too rich for him, but he doesn't listen. It takes a few minutes for Emilio to realize that Paco is talking about Perla Ruby. Why doesn't Emilio have a long term chance, as you say? Brother Patricia then asks. She could do much worse than an honest, hardworking, law-abiding man like Emilio. Hardworking maybe, Paco says, but honest and law-abiding? Just barely. Emilio sees Brother Patricio smile at Paco's words. Paco, Brother Patricio, and Emilio all know about the time when Emilio was not all that law-abiding. It's okay. Paco is Emilio's best friend, and he's allowed to allude to his shady past, and he's used to Paco and Brother Patricio debating the long term possibilities of relationships with Perla Ruby. Paco's wrong, but that's okay too. Though they haven't talked about it, Amelia knows that Perla Ruby likes him just as much as he likes her. Finally, they turn onto the tree lined street in front of the school. Brother Patricio honks twice, and Cristobal opens the iron gate of Caligo Mexicano. Cristobal has been the security guard since before the time when schools in Ciudad Jarvis needed security guards. Emilio sticks his hand out the window and slaps him a high five as they drive by. Perla Ruby's in the library, Cristobal tells him with a wink. You're living in La La Land, Paco says. It's going to be painful to watch you crash. You're just jealous, Emilio says, clicking off his seatbelt and getting ready to bolt out of the van. Would you mind waiting until I properly park this vehicle? Brother Patricio says. I'll see you all here tomorrow at 7 for a game against the Conducadores. It's in El Paso, remember, so we need to give ourselves enough time to get across the border. There's a collective groan when every single boy in the van except Emilio. From every single boy in the van except Emilio. He's already sprinting to the library. Emilio knocks gently on the glass door of the library, and Chella, the cleaning lady, opens it for him. With a nod of her head and a smile, she points to where Perla Ruby is sitting. Thank you, Emilio whispers. He looks at the round clock behind the librarian desk as he enters. 10:45. You can't take too long talking to Perla Ruby, otherwise you'll miss Armando, he reminds himself. He finds her at their usual table, tapping away on her laptop. She's facing away from the door, so she didn't see him walk in. Hello, Perla Rubio. Esmeralda, he says, trying not to sound out of breath. They like using their full names with each other because the names are both so ridiculous. Amelia Tapata, she says, suddenly beaming. How was the game? Okay. It was a practice game, no big deal. Did you win? Of course. Too bad you had to come in today. Volleyball practice again. Yeah, in 15 minutes. We need all the workouts we can get. No one really minds. I get here early to study for a physics test, and to see you. Emilio swallows. He tries to speak, but he can't. When he looks into Perla Ruby's eyes, he is sometimes momentarily stunned. It's as if he remembers how beautiful she is and how fortunate he is, and both things happen all at once. Are you okay? Perla Ruby asks, more amused than concerned. Yes, why? Well, you seem, I don't know, strange, but in a good way. Emilio takes a deep breath. I have tons to do before the party tonight, and we play again tomorrow. Brother Patricio going a little overboard with the exhibition games. She smiles. How else are you going to win the state championship again? We'll be exhausted by the time the real competition starts. Do you have a time to go over your trigonometry homework? She says. One of the things that Emilio likes most about Perla Ruby is how seriously she takes her responsibilities as his tutor. He got to know her thanks to Brother Patricio, who arranged for a tutor for her to tutor Emilio when his grades fell below the average required to play soccer. They met for an hour once a week at first, and then Perla Ruby increased the meetings to twice a week. If it wasn't for her, he wouldn't be on the team. Still, he wishes he didn't have to worry about things like trigonometry. Triangles is the only thing he can think of saying. Among other things, Perla Ruby then laughs. You have a test next Wednesday, remember? I can't today. I'll study this weekend, I promise. She shakes her head, pretending to scold him. I don't want all of Juvez to blame me with the Puma star midfielder flunking out. I'm going to study so hard, really, I will. I'll get a C minus in every course, even if it kills me. He grins at her. That's what I like about you. You're so ambitious. She tugs his right ear. Ouch! Hey, Emilio says, looking at the clock in the back. Are you going to be okay after volleyball practice? Is someone coming to pick you up? My mother, don't worry. I'll wait for her inside the school. Cristobal will keep me safe. I'll walk you to your bike. I need a break, anyways. He stands when she stands, and they walk out to the library together. Cello, mopping the floor, smiles at him conspiratorially as they go by. Everyone knows there is something between him and Perla Ruby. Maybe it's time to tell her how he feels. He stops at the top of the stairs and looks around. They're all alone. Are you okay? Perla Ruby asks again, this time concerned. Emilio takes a deep breath. Everyone thinks we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Yes, I think they do. She looks down, and Emilio notices her breath quicken. His has as well. Is that bad? No, I mean, are we? We've never talked about it. It's true, we never have. I'd like to be. Perla Ruby nods, her eyes still on the steps. She's wearing a one-piece outfit that he's seen on professional tennis players. A pair of blue athletic shorts peek from under their short white skirt. Her skin is smooth, a shade lighter than his. A few strands of black hair stick to her temple. She raises her head, looks deep into his eyes, and then leans forward and kisses him on the cheek. What was that for? Emilio says. For being patient. Is that what I am? Brother Patricio thinks I'm impatient. You're patient with me. Then she says, do you want to talk about us? You've never needed it before. He looks away for a moment and then at her. I think I know how you feel about me. And you know what I feel, don't you? Only a few seconds pass before Perla Ruby responds. But they seem like a lifetime to Amelia. Yes, you do. And yes, I do. Emilio turns her slightly so that they are facing each other, their bodies almost touching. Can I say how I feel? Can I tell her? I would like her to hear it. Warmth spreads through him. Perla Ruby touches Emilio's lips with her index finger. Finally, she says, Emilio, my parents are very strict. They know we're friends. I don't want to have to lie to them. So it's better for me if how I feel about you, how we feel towards each other, remains unsaid. Everyone knows that we're together, and we know what we feel, and that's all that matters. Pearlie Ruby's words make Emilio feel desperately happy and desperately confused. But what? Tell me. Your parents wouldn't be okay with me being more than a friend? He means it as a question, but it doesn't come out that way. She puts her arms gently around his, and they walk down the stairs. When they reach the bottom, she says, Emilio? That's okay, he says. You don't have to say anything. Just then, Perla Ruby's phone rings. She steps away to answer it, and while she's talking, Emilio berates himself for starting a serious conversation when he's so pressed for time. He's grateful for what she's given him. She feels about him the way he feels about her. Does he really need more? What should be so why should he feel so disappointed? Pearlie Ruby hangs up. That was Mama. She asked me if you were here. Before we go outside, do you want to talk some more about this? No, I'm good. She studies him, and then she drops her backpack to her feet and she hugs him. Emilio, my father worked very hard to be where he is and to give my mother and me the kind of life we had. So we're concerned that whoever I fall in love with will take care of you in the manner you're accustomed. He then doesn't mean the words to sound as bitter as they are. Perla Ruby's embarrassed silence is all over the answer he needs. After a few moments, she says, Tonight you'll meet my mother. I've told her about your business and all you do for the Japaras. She says she wants to talk to you. That's a good sign. My mother will like you. I know she will. And then we'll work on my father. You have it all planned out. Yes, I do. And she looks him in the eyes until Emilio blushes. Then she grabs his hand and pulls him outside. Come early tonight so you and Mama have a chance to talk. What should I say to her? Talk to her about your business. She loves folk art. You'll see when you walk through the house. Tell her about the motorcycle you're going to buy soon and the shops you hope to open when you get out of school. Just be yourself. How many times have I told you you want to make enough money that your mother doesn't have to work? Tell her that. I'm not asking you to say anything you don't mean or to be anyone you're not. They walk to the awning where the bikes are kept. Perla Ruby is right. Since Emilio's father abandoned him, he's been filled with the wanting that's a lot like anger. Every month when he and Sarah sit at the kitchen table to pay the bills, he wants more and more to be rich. He wants a nice house for his mother and a kind of house his father was planning to buy before he left for the United States. He wants a motorcycle so he can get Sarah to and from work safely. He wants to give his family and himself all that his father promised to give them but didn't. This wanting became more intense after he met Pearl and Ruby. Emilio rolls out his old bike with a trailer attached. Gotta go. Duty calls, he says. Whenever I see you on your bike, you remind me of a knight and his horse. That's it, he says, mounting the bike. I'm the knight off to kill a dragon, and you're the princess. My princess. Princess Perla Ruby Della Esmeralda. She grins. Go slay the dragon, my knight. Don Emilio de la Zapata. I'll be here waiting.